is an introduction to place command. This is one of the main tools that we use with a lot of dogs. So what you want to do is you want to put your dog on a 6-foot leash. You can use whatever leash will work for the dog. This is a slip lead. Some dogs might need a prong, whatever works for your dog. So I'm going to show you how we introduce that. Luna? Luna's our model. Come over here, sweetie. So initially what you want to do is you're going to walk the dog up to the mat and you're going to stop right before the mat. And then you're going to walk your dog onto the mat. Yes, good girl. Good girl. Now she offered me a sit and a down. You don't need to have your dog do that initially because at this point you're just teaching them what the actual place command is. And if you noticed, I did not actually use the command word yet. I want to make sure she understands what she needs to do before I introduce the command. So she's on the mat, and I'm not going to have her stay there too long because initially your dog's going to want to jump off, so you only want them on there a couple seconds and then you release them from the mat. You need to use a release word. I like to use let's go. Let's go. So you want to be clear with your communication with your dog so they understand what you're asking. You also want them to understand that they have to stay on the mat until you release them. So I'm going to do it again. I'm going to walk her up. And I'm going to stop right before the mat, and I'm going to walk her on. Yes, yes, good girl. Make sure you do a lot of praise because that's what they really learn from. Let's go. Good job, Luna. Good girl. I'm going to stop her, and I'm going to walk her on. Yes, yes, good girl. Let's go. And you're going to do this a lot. Maybe about 50 times. So now she's to the point where she understands that. This is when, the next time I bring her back around, I'm not going to stop her in front of the mat. I'm just going to walk her onto the mat. As I walk her onto the mat, I'm going to give her the command. Let's go. Luna, place. Yes, good girl. Let's go. I'm going to repeat this as necessary. Luna, place. Yes, good girl. Let's go. Okay, and you're going to come from different directions so she understands that it doesn't matter which direction you're coming from. When you say place, you need to go to the mat. Luna, place. Yes, good girl. Good job. Let's go. So the next time I come around, I'm actually going to step a step beyond the mat, and I expect her not to come off of the mat. I want her to stay on the mat, so I will be holding the leash up to guide her back if necessary. Place. Yes. So she's still on the mat, and that's fine. But as you see, I stepped up a step further. She stayed on the mat. Let's go. So I'm also going to walk her by so she understands that just because we went by the mat doesn't mean that she needs to go on the mat unless I tell her to. Okay. Luna, place. Yes. Good girl. Very nice. And then you want to get to the point where you can walk around her and she needs to stay there. If she goes to get up for any reason, I'm just going to guide her back. And I can repeat the command in the beginning one more time so that she's clear. She understands clearly what I'm asking of her. And I'm also going to get to the point where I can drop the leash and I can walk a step away and then I go back. Now you have to understand you need to do these in baby steps. What I just did right now was a little advanced and it's going to take a little bit of time. So I'm going to pick the leash back up and I'm going to release her. Let's go. Good girl, Luna. Good job. Okay. I'm walking her back by it. Place. Good girl. And then I'll drop the leash again, and this time I'll walk 2 steps away. And then I'll go back. And I will pick the leash up, and I'll release her. Let's go. Good girl. Good job. Good girl. Okay. Place. Very nice. And that's place command.